What is up, guys? This is Kyurem from the Trinity of Lift, and today I'm bringing all of you guys my Psychic Madolche deck profile. So, ever since Cross Souls did release, there was a card that got released within the set that, in my opinion, really just helped this specific variant of Madolche out. And in my opinion, it's probably one of, if not the best variant of the deck right now, and again, my humble opinion. Because really, in my opinion, after testing this deck quite a bit, Madolche just became a lot more consistent with some new cards from the new Cross Soul set, as now we can run some more combo pieces within this deck to just make it, again, that much more consistent. So I wanted to bring my list to you guys today. So let's get right into it. Alrighty, so to start us off, we have the Triple Madolche Angeli, of course, because she is our 1 card plus 2, and she is our primary combo piece Madolche monster, so again, we have to run her at 3 to see her as often as we can. Following that, we have the Triple Madolche Madolche, because Madolche is our Stratos of the deck. She is able to get us any Madolche that we might need at any given time. So, of course, we have to also run her at 3 just to add to more consistency again. Following the Madolche, we have the Triple Madolche Hoot Cake. Now, we run 3 Hoot Cake for the fact that this is probably going to be the thing we'll be summoning off of Angeli's effect majority of the time. So we do want to ensure that we have that 1-to-1 ratio of Hoot Cake to Angeli to ensure that neither card will ever become dead. So we do have the 3 Hoot Cake. Following that, we have the Double Messengelato for our spell and trap card searching. And, of course, again, we don't want to run Messengelato at 3 for the fact that he can clog. And if we ever do draw into him, he becomes very slow. So we try and avoid those slow draws of him, as, again, because of this format and how fast it is, we really cannot afford to dead draw into stuff that often. So we do have only 2 Messengelato. Then, following him, we have our final 2 Madolches that we do run, which is 2 copies of Madolche Mufue. And again, much like Messengelato, we do not want to draw into Mufue in very awkward situations. We only want to see it when we preferably want to search it out or something like that. So we only do run 2, again, because we can search it with Madolche. But of course, it is a combo piece Madolche monster, so that is also pretty nice, as if we ever can get this alongside our Angelis, we can go into our big play into our TR Misus. So that's also pretty nice. So we do have 2 Mufue. Now, moving on to the Psychic monsters within our deck, we have 2 copies of the brand new Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. Now, Ghost Ogre is phenomenal in my opinion. Like, it is just such a good card in my honest opinion, because it just adds just so much amounts of utility to this deck. The fact that it is a Psychic tuner that is also level 3 and a hand trap is just like, really, it's just a lot of things that are just going for it, really. And again, because it is a Psychic, we can use Emergency Teleport within this deck, and then that also makes Emergency Teleport a combo piece card, again, because Ghost Ogre is a level 3. And really, to all you guys who do not know Madolches that well, if you can get a free level 3 monster alongside your Angeli, you can make your big combo plays. So, again, it just serves as another way to go into our combos, as well as it also functions as a pretty cool hand trap. Again, really, in my opinion, Clayford is probably one of the harder matchups for this deck specifically. So, in that matchup, Ghost Ogre is very, very good. And it also can kind of stop Necros to an extent. You can sort of stop Jinlock plays and whatnot. So that's also kind of nice. So again, we do have the 2 Ghost Ogres to act as some of our Psychic monsters. Following that, we have one more Psychic monster, and that is 1 copy of Recover. Now, Recover is another card which we can grab off of our Emergency Teleports, and really, Recover is run here because of the fact that it is a level 1 Earth Tuner monster that we can grab off of Emergency Teleport. This card by itself gives us access to Naturia Beast, and in my opinion, Naturia Beast is probably one of, if not the best Synchro this format, for the fact that it can just shut down majority of the matchups this format again. Much like Nekroz and Clyford are the primary ones, as if you can make Nat Beast fairly early against those decks, they really just have issues playing the game. So we do have the 1 Recover to just give us that Nat Beast access. Finally, we have 2 more monsters within our main deck, and those are 2 copies of Effect Veiler. Really, this is kind of self-explanatory. Effect Veiler is probably the best hand trap this format because of its effect negation. So we do have 2 here just to help us stop our opponent's Necros of Trishulas and all those crazy stuff that we just really don't want to activate. So we do have the 2 Veilers. Alright, so that is it for the monsters. So moving on to the spells, we go into our triple emergency teleport. Because, like I said with the Ghost Ogres and the Recover, this is one of our combo pieces. And it can, again, help us get into our plays. But the cool thing is, because we do run Ghost Ogre, we can actually turn our emergency teleports to sort of, I guess you could say sort of like a trap. Because if we do end up setting it, we can actually flip it up, summon our Ghost Ogres from our deck, and then Ghost Ogre can still activate its effect because it says from either hand or field. So that's also pretty cool. So again, this is it's a really diverse card within this deck, I should say. So we do have 3 emergency teleports just to, I guess, to add to that utility, I guess. I guess that's sort of the word, I don't know. But yeah, 3 E-Tele. Following the 3 E-Tele, we have double instant fusion for the fact that, much like E-Tele, we can use it as a combo piece, primarily as a combo piece, I should say, as it isn't as diverse as emergency teleport might be, but the fact that instant fusion can help us pump out free XYZ monsters whenever we might need it at any given time is really, really cool. So we do have the 2 instant fusion. Moving on to our Madolche specific spell cards, we have the 1 copy of Chateau and the 1 copy of Ticket. Now, the reasoning why I decided to cut Chateau down to 1 copy is for the singular fact that we really don't want to draw into these cards, as they don't help us within our game state enough, in my opinion, to warrant us wanting to draw into them, as both of them are searchable off of Messengerado's effect. So really, we don't want to draw into them, as in my opinion, I'd much rather draw into something like an Emergency Teleport, a Veiler, or maybe even like an MST. As, again, in my opinion, MST also kind of helps in some of the matchups this format, except Necros. So, just to give you guys some examples of what I'd rather draw into than these cards. So, I did cut the Chateau down to 1 alongside the Ticket, just because, again, we really don't want to draw into them over other cards. So, we do have these 2 Madolche spells. Following that, we have, speaking of which, double MST, for the fact that we really do not want to get locked under things like skill drain, vanities, or even lose 1 turn. So, because, in my opinion, Floodgates are sort of making a small kind comeback just because of Clyfor and their new toy that they can now run, I decided to put MST back into the main deck, again, because I really just don't want cards that can kind of make me auto-lose. So, in order to avoid that, we do have the 2 MSTs. Then, finally, we have 4 more spell cards, which are our Jin Lock Out spell cards. They are our 1 copy of Raigeki, the 1 book, and the double Dark Hole. Now, I wanted to try and maximize on cards that can help me out the Jin Lock, because, of course, if we're locked under it, we just really cannot play the game. So I did want to maximize on as much spell-based outs as we could. And these are also, again, fairly helpful in the Clyford matchup, which is, in my opinion, one of your most difficult matchups. So we do have more Mass Destruction and just, I guess, good staple cards just to help us get around any given threat. So that is going to round off our spell card lineup. Moving on to our traps, we have the double breakthrough skill to start them off. Now, the reason why I have 2 breakthrough skill alongside double effect Veiler is for the fact that, first of all, Veiler is a good hand trap. But I also do run the 2 breakthrough skill for the fact that it has that double utility that is really, really important in my opinion. Now, the Necros of Unicorn is a very, very strong card against this deck, as you do rely heavily on your extra deck. So having the ability to break through skill something, and then have the ability to use it again to stop our opponent's Necros of Unicorn is also just really, really good in my opinion, as you just will almost never run into a situation where you just are floodgated to the point where you just cannot play. So we do have the 2 breakthrough skill to help us with that. Following that, we have the double Mirror Force, really just for more Clyfort hate, as, again, in my opinion, Clyfort is a really, really tough matchup for you, as their ability to just summon really huge monsters and just poke over you, and you really just have not many outs to it, is just really, really bad. So I did want to try and alleviate that matchup as much as I could within this list. So we do have the 2 Mirror Force. Now then, we have 5 more traps, which are all 1-ofs. Now, we start the 1-ofs off with the 1 Bottomless, because Pendulum, when your opponent Pendulum summons and you flip Bottomless, that's pretty GG right there. So we do have the 1 Bottomless for that. Then we have the 1 Compulsory Evacuation Device for just general utility trap card. Then we have the 1 Solemn Warning to help stop our opponent's Vega Altair Deneb or Altair Vega Deneb combos, and any other weird summoning monsters that we just don't want to ever hit the field, so we do have the 1 Solemn for that. We have the 1 Emptiness, because Emptiness is one of the easier ways to make our opponent's Necros decks not being able to play Yu-Gi-Oh! So again, having Emptiness for that is pretty cool. And then finally, we have the one TT for more Mass Destruction and more Clifford Hate. So there we go for the main deck. Moving on to the extra deck, we start off with our double Madolche Queen Tiara Misu because she is the bomb. Really, she is your boss monster that you want to try and spam out as much and as fast as you can, because her effect is non-targeting bouncing removal back to the deck, which is, again, really, really strong. So we want to try and be able to have the ability to spam her out as quick as we can. So we do have 2 copies of her to act as our boss. Following her, we have our double copy of Levier, because we need Levier for our primary combos. And again, we really want to have 2, just so we can ensure that we can go into our primary combo at least twice in a game. Again, just so we can get into our Tiara Misus. Then we have the one MX Saber Invoker for those odd times when we cannot Levier into our combo. So there are weird times when we have to invoke her into our combo. So we do have the one Invoker for that. Then, so after those combo-related XYZs, I guess you could say, we go into the more general ones. And then for these, we have 2 Stellar Knight, actually, 2 Tellar Knight, I should say, XYZ in this deck. And that is 1 copy of Tellar Knight Ptolemaeus and 1 copy of Diamond. Now, these cards are here to help you win the Shadol and Burning Abyss matchups, as both matchups can really, I guess you could say, mess you up if you play your cards wrong. So you really want to have ways to stop your opponent from just wrecking you, I guess you could say. The fact that Burning Abyss can float like crazy and generate free pluses, and the fact that Shadows can abuse your extra deck reliance to make free fusions is just really not cool. So you want to have ways to really just stop them and just force them to make bad plays in order to out you, so that you can use your own big plays to really just start negging them. So that's why we do run the 1 Diamond and 1 Ptolemaeus. Then we have 2 more XYZs. We have 1 Hero Champion Excalibur for the fact that Apocalypse Towers is a pretty scary card, and we want to have at least 1 out to it somewhere in the deck. And also we can make Excalibur in the odd times when we have a Messenger Dado and an Instant Fusion. So we can have Excalibur here just to really push for damage, as Madolche isn't a really OTK based deck, but there are weird times when you can't actually make Excalibur for damage, so that's also pretty nice. Then for the last XYZ we do run, we have the 1 Engineer, because in my opinion, majority of extra decks need some kind of wall. So we do have the 1 Engineer to act as that wall. Now then, moving on to our Synchro monsters, we start off with the 1 level 7, which is our Clearwing Synchro Dragon, because this card is phenomenal against things like Shadol and Nekroz. So we do have access to it because we can use something like a Ghost Ogre and a level 4 to make it. So it's really cool because, again, it just helps you against this meta. So we do have the 1 Clearwing. Following that, we have our level 6, which is our Goyo Guardian, because in my opinion, this is probably the best level 6 that we can run in this deck, as really the only other contender would be HTS Sahimith, but in my opinion, Sahimith isn't really that good anymore, because it's really hard to make in times when you might want to see it. So we do have the 1 Goyo Guardian just to act as more general level 6 synchro plays and whatnot. And then finally, we have 1 more Synchro, which is our 1 copy of Naturia Beast, because, like I said with Recover and the Italis, Naturia Beast is really, really good this format. So if we have access to it, we should run it. And then finally, we have 2 more cards in our extra deck, which is our 2 Instant Fusion monsters, which is our 1 Carbonella Warrior and our 1 Fusionist. And I should note that it's really cool that Carbonella Warrior is that warrior monster, because we can, again, use it to make our Excalibur. So again, it just adds to that utility and just our easy combo plays within this Madolche deck. So that is going to round us off for this extra deck. Well then, I guess that is it for my Madolche, or I should say Psychic Madolche deck profile for today. I hope you guys all did enjoy, and again, if you have any thoughts, comments, and or questions, feel free to just leave them down in the comment section below. And as always, this is Kyurem from the Trinity of Lift, and I'll see all of you guys later. Peace.